everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am not looking my best, but I'm in my comfies, and that can only mean one thing: it's time for another reading vlog. I haven't done a reading vlog in a long time, and I haven't actually sat down and just read for a long time. I used to start every morning reading my book, set me up for the day, and if I really hooked on a book, I'd be reading it in the evenings, I'd be reading it at bits in the day as I can. I just haven't had that recently. I have been reading, but mainly on my commute to work and things like that. I haven't prioritised reading at home for a long time, and I'm really missing it. I feel like there's nothing better than getting sucked into a book and sitting there and just reading it in not one sitting necessarily, but in one big chunk. On my commute, it's so disjointed, and I do feel like that has an impact on how much I'm enjoying reading at the moment. So I thought by filming a little reading vlog, that will kind of motivate me to just make time in my day to read. I kind of wanted this to be an autumnal cozy vibe. I'm in my comfy clothes. I'm gonna light a new candle. I've got this one here actually. It's called Morning Coffee by Habitat, and it smells divine. So I think I'm gonna light this and get to some reading. So for a reading update, the kind of books I want to read this vlog, like I say, I kind of want to keep on theme with autumnal vibes. So for me, that's mystery, thrillers, horrors, and maybe some dark academia. So I've created a little TBR. I don't think I'll get through all these books in this vlog, but we'll see. I'm not working for the next couple of days, so hopefully I can make a good dent into this TBR anyway. But these are kind of the books that I want to prioritise in the coming weeks. It is now, I don't know the date, 28th of October. Does that still count as autumn? I think it does. I don't know when winter begins, but in my head winter's December, or very late November. The first book I am definitely going to read and have actually already started, I started this this morning on my way home from work, is Carrie by Stephen King. I'm about, I don't know how far through I am. I think I'm about 100 pages in, maybe 80 pages in. I don't use bookmarks, so I just open the book and try and find where I was last, which could be a controversial thing to do, and it definitely makes it difficult for myself. I don't know why I don't just get a bookmark and use it. But anyway, yeah, I'm about 80 pages in, and it's only about 250 pages, 230 pages, so I'm hoping I can make a good dent into that today. Still very much setting up the story, and yeah, there's just some things going on with Carrie, but I'm sure there's a lot more to come in the coming pages. And the fonts are really big, it's a very easy to read book. So yes, I am enjoying that, and I'm hoping if I could finish it today, that would be really good. So that's the first book on my TBR. My next one is, that I definitely want to get to, is We Solve Murders by Richard Osman. I got this when it came out. I had pre-ordered it, which I never pre-order books, and I still haven't got to it. So I just wanted, my issue is, when there's a book that I'm really excited for, this is a 5-star prediction for me, one of my most anticipated books this year, I'm so excited for it. I want to give it the right time to sit down and really enjoy it, and I haven't been doing that with my reading recently, so it just hasn't been the time to pick it up, but I'm hoping that can change this week. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to picking this one up. Obviously it's the author of the Thursday Murder Club, but it's a different series. It's the start of a new series with new characters, new plots and things like that, which I'm really excited for, and I'm just intrigued to see how he does it with different characters and things like that, because I've got so used to the characters in the Thursday Murder Club and I just love them so much. But Richard Osman's a great writer, so I have no doubt that I'm going to love this one as well. And then 2 more on my hopefuls list. I have The Vegetarian by Han Kong. This has been on my TBR for a couple of years now, and again, it's really short, so I'm really hoping I can get to it this year, because yeah, like I say, it's been on my TBR for a while, and I feel like this time of year is the best time to read it. I don't really know much about what it entails, and like I say, it is quite short, so I haven't really read too much into it, but I've heard it's quite creepy and yeah, just good for this time of year. So if I can get to that, that would be great. And then I also have Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I picked this one because dark academia, so again, it's a different genre, but still in that autumnal vibe. And I've also got this one on Kindle as well, so if I want a break from reading physically and want to pick up a book on my Kindle, I've also got this on my Kindle, so it's a good crossover. I can read it both ways. This is my TBR for this week, this video. I don't know how long it's going to be. like how long I'm going to make this vlog, but oh my gosh, I can't hold them up. But yeah, so these are the books that I hopefully will be getting to. Like I say, I'm going to read, what one is it? Read Carrie now, and I will let you know what I think when I'm a little bit further through. I will say, I did a book on haul, which should hopefully be up already. I have edited it, I just haven't uploaded it. I want to have like a few videos in the pipeline because I'm so bad at being consistent. So I'm trying to have like a few videos in the backlog to be able to upload a bit more consistently. But yeah, it should be up already. I did a big book on haul of my TBR. I got rid of like almost half of my TBR. And I must say, like, when I'm picking this little TBR for this video, it's so much easier to just see books that I'm just excited for and want to read. It really makes a difference. So I'm so happy I did that on haul. I don't regret it at all. I've sold so many of the books already on Vinted and they're like out my life, and I just feel better for it. I was like, oh, am I going to regret it once they sell? Am I going to be like, oh, I wish I kept it? But so far I'm loving it. So yes, that's my update. I'm going to make a cup of tea, see if that can help soothe my throat, and settle down and read a bit of Carrie. I don't really have anything else autumnal and fun going on at the moment. I will say I have got into cross stitch. I'll show you it. I'm quite proud of it so far. This is my first time doing it. Well, I used to do it when I was like very young with my grandma, but like she would basically do it all for me and I would just pick out the pattern and maybe do like 2 stitches. So this is my first, let me put these books down. Oh my gosh, dropping on the floor. This is my first attempt at cross stitch, and it's by no means finished, but I feel like you can see what it is. The little seahorse. I need to add like the rest of the details going down and the rest of the tail. But I'm having so much fun doing it. It's not the most autumnal pattern, but I feel like it's a very like cute, cozy activity, and yeah, I'm just really enjoying my cross stitch. So I was hoping I could find a audiobook to listen to alongside it while I do some of this at some point this week. So I'm gonna see if any of these books on my TBR have an audiobook with my library and things like that. But I will say I'm really struggling with my library's audiobook section at the moment. I just feel like I can never find any of the books I want to read. So we'll see if I can find one. If not, maybe I will pick another one. But yes, so I've got my cross stitch. I'm also rewatching Criminal Minds, which is my favourite series. And again, I just love Criminal Minds. So any time of the year, it's a great time to rewatch Criminal Minds. But this time of year particularly I love it. So yes, that is my plan for the week. Having a very wholesome self-care few days. So it's now the next day. I didn't actually do any reading after that clip. I had such high expectations for myself, such high hopes, but my housemate came home and then I just got distracted talking to her and then cooking dinner, all that kind of stuff. So I didn't actually get any reading done last night. But this morning I finished part 1 of Carrie. So how far through is that? I think it's about halfway through, yeah. So I'm now on to part 2, titled Prom Night, which I'm very excited for. I mean, if you don't know the plot of Carrie, I don't know how much to kind of tell you without giving it away, but it's basically about Carrie, who is a teenager. I think she's 17, and she has this power of telekinesis. Is that how you say it? Basically can make objects move with her mind, and when she's particularly like feeling strong emotions. And it's just about her, I think, like harnessing this power. And I know that there is a big thing about prom night in this book, so I'm excited to kind of get to the next part. I feel like this first part was kind of just introducing the characters in the background and the backstory, and the next part is going to be like when the true action and drama happens. So I'm really excited to get to that. I don't know if it's only 2 parts or if there's a 3rd part, I don't know what. But yeah, like I say, I'm halfway through that and I really do want to finish it today. I know I said that yesterday, but this is my goal for the day. I haven't really got any other plans other than cleaning my house and reading this book. So yeah, I'm going to clean my bathroom if anyone's interested, and then settle down and read some more of this book. 5 p.m. but pitch black outside. So I've got to put the big light on in order for you guys to actually see anything. But I have just finished Carrie and I actually really enjoyed it. So like I said, the second part definitely was a lot faster paced. Not that the first part was slow or anything like that. It was still quite a fast paced start to the book, but it was more building up the character of Carrie and the events that lead her up to the main event, which is part 2, the prom night. And I just had fun reading it. It was very dramatic and very different to anything I've ever read, but really fun at the same time. And yeah, it's made me want to watch the film. I haven't seen the film before, so I didn't really have much of a clue going into it as to what it kind of entailed. I obviously had a vague idea of the synopsis, but I didn't have too many expectations going in, but I definitely want to watch the film now. I've read a few Stephen Kings before. I've read The Institute, I've read The Shining. I've read a couple more, but I can't think of them off the top of my head. But this was very different to the other ones that I'd read. The writing style was very different. Obviously, it was a lot shorter as well. But yeah, the writing style was just different. It feels quite haphazard at times and kind of a bit all over the place. But not in a confusing way, just in a kind of fast pace to kind of keep the story going. And it's interspersed with, you can't really tell, like, it all reads as if like it's a normal novel, but it's interspersed with like articles and correspondence and police interviews and things like that along the way. And again, that kind of gives a bit of a backstory without taking away from the story, because they're just short little paragraphs and then you kind of get back into it again. It's another way of getting different character perspectives and a bit more context without being taken away from the story and without like dragging it out too much. It is quite a short book. It's only 240 pages, I think, but I didn't feel like it needed to be any more. It's quite like an isolated, like the main focus of the book is this one incident, and I felt like it was the perfect length. I didn't need any more, I didn't need any less. And yeah, just a fun one to read and a bit of a cult classic, I think, so I'm glad that I finally got to it. Also, I just went on Goodreads to update that I'd finished the book, and I just realised I have now hit my reading goal for the year. I actually hit it with the last book I read before I finished Carrie, and just didn't notice until I went on it just now. So that's great. It's just towards the end of October and I've already reached my goal, which I'm very happy about. I think I've read, I can't remember what my goal was now, I think 45 books. So definitely should make it to 50 books by the end of the year, which is good for me. Anyway, I'm very happy with that. So for the rest of the night, I want to pick up another book because I find it quite hard to start a new book if I don't start it the same day that I finish a book. Does that make sense? If I finish a book and then I leave it, I don't then pick up another book for a while. So I want to dive straight into a new book. So based on my TBR, these are the 3 we have left. I think I'm going to start We Solve Murders by Richard Osman because very different to Carrie and I like to mix up my genres, and I'm just so excited to get to this one. So yeah, I don't really know, like I said earlier, too much about this book at the moment, just that it's by my favourite author of all time, so I'm going to probably love it, or at least I hope I do. Yes, so I'm going to sit down and start this at some point this evening, and I will update you with my first thoughts probably tomorrow morning, once I've got a little bit of the way through. Guys, I'm reading this so quickly. I'm on page 127, which is where part 1 ends, so I thought this would be a good time to check in, but I honestly feel like I've only been reading this an hour and I've just zoomed through it, but in the best way. I always think of Richard Osman's books as very fast-paced and quick and easy to read, but it's not until you start reading them that you realise just how easy to read they are. I just love his writing. writing so much. It's so nice to see new characters and things like that. I will say the characters are very reminiscent of the Thursday Murder Club series. Like, they're very different characters, but also just the way they're written, like, you still have that nostalgia even though they're different characters. I can't really explain it. But yeah, I am finished part 1. We have set up the storyline, met all the characters. As with Richard Osman's books, there are a lot of different storylines, a lot of different plots that I'm sure are all gonna like meet at some point. Just fun. Like, Richard Osman's writing is so fun. Like, I don't have any other words. He has this way of writing that's just so light-hearted, and this humour that I haven't read in from any other author, but still diving into like deep topics, murder, you know, that kind of thing. I'm loving it. I'm so happy that I've got another Richard Osman in my life.
Good morning. It is just before 10 and I am up and already ready, which is quite an achievement for me. I'm gonna go out today and do a little walk. I'm going to an area of London I've not been to before, but I've heard is really nice. It's called Dulwich Village. And I'm gonna go see what is there. There is a park which I'm gonna wander through, and some cafes and some independent shops and stuff. I think there's also a bookshop, so best believe I'll be going in there. So yeah, I thought I would take you along with me. If I do find a bookshop, I want to get the sequel to The Poppy War. Is it The Dragon Republic or is that the third one? Whatever the second one is, I want to get that because I feel like having it physically on my shelf will make me read it quicker, and I really want to keep momentum with that series and get to the sequel soon before I forget everything that happened in the first book. So yes, that is the plan for today, and I will take you along.
So it was really nice actually. It was really nice to get out and explore somewhere new. I've never been there. I've heard so many good things about it, but I had never been to Dulwich. And it was lovely. First thing I bought isn't actually a book. It's this really pretty pink photo frame. They also had it like a sage green, but I just really liked the pink. I'm thinking like a nice black and white photo in here would look really nice. But yes, anyway, didn't need that, but I bought it. Anyway, onto the books. So I said I wanted to buy The Dragon Republic by Arthur, which I did. I bought this from a bookshop called Chainer Books. So I bought that one. That was a new book, and it came with a bookmark. Oh yeah, look, Chainer Books, that's the name of it. So if you've been following my journey, I literally just use like old photos, old receipts. I don't even use bookmarks at all. Sometimes I just close the book and open it on what I think might be the right page when I want to carry on reading. So I'm happy about the book, but I'm more happy about the bookmark. But yeah, no, I read The Poppy War not too long ago, maybe last month, and I loved it. So wanting to get my hands on The Dragon Republic so I can pick it up soon, so it's not too long to wait between reading each book, because I feel like it's the kind of book that I need to read quickly because I will forget the world and the magic system and all that. So picked up this, which I was happy about, and then I went into a charity shop. I think it was called St Christopher's Hospice. The book selection in there was, I haven't been to a charity shop with such good books for such a long time. Like normally I go and I find maybe one book, if that at a push, that I want. This time I was overwhelmed. There were so many good books there. I recently did an unhaul. Cleared out like half my TBR, and I said at the end of that video, when I go book shopping I need to be more mindful about the books I'm picking up, because I go to charity shops and I just get excited that I see a book that I recognise or vaguely have an interest in and pick it up and then never end up reading it, and it sits on my shelf for years. So I said to myself, like, I'm going to be a bit more mindful and actually only pick up books that I would buy full price or yeah, like genuinely want to read. So I had to constrain myself a little bit, but that being said, I still picked up 4 books. First one
sticks to that theme, and it is The Year of the Locust by Terry Hayes. Now, I read Iron Pilgrim and loved it, and I didn't realise he had another book out. I thought it was just Iron Pilgrim, so I was really excited to find this one. But funnily enough, I was in Village Books, I think it's called, the bookshop in East Dulwich, in Dulwich Village, and because I was looking for the Dragon Republic, but they didn't have it. But I saw this book. That's how I found out about it, that he had the second book. And I was so close to picking it up. I was like, oh, I've literally only just found out about it. Let me read into it a bit more, find out what it's about, and maybe I'll come pick it up like later or another day, or add it to my list. You know, I'm not in a rush kind of thing. Bearing in mind I'd never heard of this book before. And then I only went and saw it in the charity shop, literally the next shop I went to. So I was like, look, this must be a sign. I've picked it up. It was only £3, buzzing with that. That was the first one I picked up. The next two aren't actually additions to my TBR, because this one I've got on Kindle already, but it's the kind of book that I feel like I'm going to want to own physically and just feel like I'm going to love. So when I saw it in the shop, I was like, I'm going to pick it up. It is The 5 People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom. I've heard such good things about this one, and like I say, I have got it on Kindle. I picked it up a couple of months ago and haven't read it yet, but I just feel like it's the kind of book I'm going to want to own physically. Sorry about that. You could... Oh! Building work outside my house. Looking forward to reading this one, and like I say, want to own it physically. There's just some books that I just feel like I know I want to own physically. I don't know, I can't explain it. There's some books I'm happy just being on Kindle, and then there's some that I'm like, yep, I need to own that one. And then the other one that's not being added to my TBR is The Book Thief by Mark Zuzak. So this is actually like my favourite book of all time. If anyone asks me what my favourite book is, this is the one I would say. And the current edition I have of it, let me grab it, this one here, which like is fine, but it's just not my favourite cover. Much prefer this cover, but I'm not about to be buying it full price because I don't really have an excuse, because I already own it, if that makes sense. And there is nothing wrong with this cover, I just don't love it as much as this. Anyway, £3 in a charity shop, obviously I'm going to buy it, so I'm super happy to have this one. And the edge, like, it's literally got like one crack down the spine, that is it, which is pretty impressive if you ask me. So yeah, super happy to have this edition in my life. And then the final book I picked up from the charity shop was On Earth We Are Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. Nice short book that I've heard amazing things about. I feel like it's won like prizes and everything like that, and it's meant to be a really impactful, beautiful story, so I'm looking forward to having this on my shelf as well. On the journey there and back, I also read some more of We Solve Murders by Richard Osman. I finished the second part 2, and moved on to part 3, which I believe is like the final bit where they're kind of wrapping up. I am on page 385, so only like 60 pages maybe to go, so I will give you my full review and update when I finish it, which will be later this afternoon. But I really am enjoying it still. I will say part 2 was a little bit confusing. There was just a lot of characters and a lot of like different plot points, but they're all quite similar. A lot of bad guys, and I couldn't quite work out who was who and what storyline was what, and because the chapters are so short, you jump around so quickly that by the time I work out who they are, they've moved on. But that hasn't really taken away my enjoyment of it, and yeah, I am still really enjoying it, and like I said, I just love Richard Osman's writing. Take a shot every time I say that, honestly. But yes, we'll carry on reading some more of this afternoon and should finish it today, and then I will give you my wrap up and we'll move on to probably my final book of this video. Hello, so it is now the next day. It is Wednesday, and I finished last night We Solve Murders by Richard Osman. I think I'm gonna give this, I'm stuck between like a 4 and a 4.5. I did love it. Like, I loved the writing, I loved the characters, I loved the humour. Like, it's just a very typical Richard Osman book, which I really, really enjoyed. It was super fast paced, it was fun, and it felt different to the Thursday Murder Club, which I'm kind of glad about. There were some similarities, so it wasn't a complete break from his usual kind of style, but it was also different. Like, they travelled a lot more, the stakes were high. I mean, the stakes are high in Thursday Murder Club, but I don't know, it felt like a different book, which I'm glad about. I didn't want it to just read the exact same as the Thursday Murder Club. That being said, it's not quite a 5-star. I think I
I just didn't fall in love with it quite as much as I do the Thursday Murder Club books. I think it's harsh because I am comparing it to Thursday Murder Club, which I love and is like a 5-6 star book for me, or series. So it's never going to live up to that, and it is kind of unfair to compare it. But yeah, I found the plot slightly confusing at times. I think there are a lot of characters and a lot of different storylines that feed into the same plot, but I just kind of got a little bit confused with them. And I think, like I said earlier, the short chapters flicking from perspective to perspective so quickly, whilst it made it like a really fast-paced reading experience, I then felt like I didn't quite grasp what was happening all the time. And by the time I kind of worked out who was who and what was going on, we didn't have much long left. So yeah, I think I'm going to give it I'm going to rate it a 4-star on Goodreads, but it's probably more like a 4.25, 4.5. But yeah, and I am excited to carry on the series. I think, well, for him to come out with more in the series, I think come book 2, once I like have a bit more of a bearing on everyone and things like that, I will enjoy it even more. That being said, I did read the acknowledgements at the back, and he did say that next September, it's going to be another Thursday Murder Club series book, which I'm excited for. I'm excited to get back to them characters. So yes, very glad to have read this, and like I say, one of my most anticipated books of the year, so super happy that I got to that. And then this morning I started The Vegetarian by Han Kang. I am probably about 2/3 of the way through, maybe more now, through this book. Guys, it's so weird. I literally don't even know how to explain it. It's basically about a man and a wife. The wife, they're quite like just a standard, fairly boring couple. Like, they don't really have anything exciting to defer them from anything else. And then the wife one day wakes up and goes vegetarian, and that is the most controversial thing ever. But it's not about that. Like, it's basically, this book is divided into 3 chapters, and they're each about 50 pages each, so they almost read like short stories, but they are interlinked. The first chapter was all about her becoming vegetarian and the impact it was having on the family and the culture and the response to that. And it was interesting. I read it quite quickly and was interested in it. I don't know what happened in chapter 2. It went down some weird, dark tangent. The brother-in-law gets involved. It wasn't for me. And then I'm just about to start like the 3rd chapter now, and I honestly have no idea where this book's going to go, or what to do with it. Yeah, I feel like I'm being really vague, but I have no words. You know when you're like reading it, like, I'm just reading. I'm not really, I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but I guess if you are into this kind of genre and books that dive deep into, I don't even know. I'm just saying words at this point. I'm not sure. Anyway, maybe by the end of the book I'll have some more formed thoughts on it, but I'd say at the moment it's like a 3-star. It's hard because the first chapter, the first 50 pages, I was like, oh yeah, like this is pretty decent, like 4 stars. And the second part, I'm like 2 stars. We'll see where this book takes us. I actually have no idea how this is going to end. I don't even know what's happening, let alone to work out how it's going to end. But yes, I should finish that today before my night shift, and then I will probably wrap up the vlog then. But I will let you know my final thoughts on that book if I can begin to decipher them. So I finished The Vegetarian a couple of days ago now, and I've just had a couple of days to think about this book because I think it's really hard to give a review on. I think when I last updated, I just finished part 2, was reading part 2, which was very odd and took a turn that I didn't quite appreciate or enjoy. But I will say the 3rd section I did appreciate it a little bit more and had a bit more, it kind of brought it all together, and I kind of understood it a little bit more, and what it was trying to kind of say and do. And I did, like I say, appreciate it a little bit more. I wouldn't say I enjoyed the book. I wouldn't say it was a book I'll come back to and will necessarily recommend and things like that, but I'm glad I read it. And
yeah, it was an interesting read. I wouldn't rush to read anything else by Han Kang, just because it wasn't quite my thing. But that being said, I can appreciate it, and I'm sure that there is a lot of depth and meaning to this book that I probably didn't quite grasp and didn't quite get. But yeah, that being said, it was fine. I'll probably rate it 3 stars. But yes, so that leaves me finished for this vlog. We read Carrie, We Solve Murders and The Vegetarian. So we had a good mix of books, mix of genres, and yeah, I really enjoyed this reading vlog. It was really nice to read quite like seasonal books and get a couple off my TBR that have been on my TBR for a while. I've been saving these books for the autumn time for a few years now, so glad to finally get to them. And yeah, I had a lot of fun, so thank you for coming with me this week, and I will see you in a video soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!